Good. All right, thank you.
Mr Murdoch and probably Mr Carmody, speaking of hopeful, this committee was very hopeful after our inquiry into aviation safety reporting and the subsequent Forsyth review of seeing some substantive changes. There's been a long and involved process of planning and changing of key people within the organisation. Where are we at with the Forsyth review implementation, and can you give us any assurance that the views of industry that Forsyth review essentially has an RIP after its name are false, and that there are significant changes occurring?
Senator, there have been a lot of the recommendations of the Forsyth review. A lot of them have already been completed. I met with Mr Forsyth, in fact, 2 weeks ago. We sat down and went through the recommendations to see whether or not there are any areas of disagreement, and there are a few, and I undertook to provide him some information to show him where in fact things had changed. I would hope to have...
Are you in a position to expand on that? One
of the recommendations, as a result of some of the recommendations, we've updated our surveillance manual, for example, and we've instituted new procedures in place when we undertake surveillance. The discussion that Mr Forsyth and I had was well, that is in place. The manual's in place, people have been told what to do, and if they don't do it, we will do something about it. His view was initially that we should wait for a number of years to see whether or not this culture, whether this had actually changed. And I said I didn't think you could actually do that. We have actually made the procedural changes to allow this to happen, and we're following up. Those were the type of discussions we had as we were working our way through things like a view on just culture. We've made great inroads in the just culture space. As I said to Mr Forsyth, though, if I make an adverse regulatory decision on somebody, the first thing they will say is, you had it out to get me, or it's the culture of the organisation's not what I was doing wrong. So I said we really have to understand that it's a complex industry and a complex environment. We are hoping to have the majority of work done about the middle of this year, but I still have half a dozen recommendations or so that will not be done. Things like all of the applications being delivered online. That's going to take me a number of years to invest in technology and infrastructure to actually accept all applications online. Having all the regulatory development completed by 30th of June, it isn't going to happen. I'm working on a program to do it. The program at the moment is a number of years, and I'm trying to reduce it. So I've gone through all of those with Mr Forsyth. We try and work our way through what is achievable by the middle of the year, and we're still in a dialogue. But let me assure you, the work is underway, and a lot of progress has been made.
Could I ask you to take on notice then to give the committee a list of recommendations that you believe have been implemented, those that are still open, and the actions that you either plan to take or that you've decided for whatever reason to not implement them?
Certainly. No problem at all, Senator. And as I indicated, we're doing that work now anyway, so by the time the notice period comes through, we should have worked a number of those things with Mr Forsyth, and I'm hopeful that Mr Forsyth, as the author of the review, and me as the regulator that's implementing those things, will be agreeing on each one of these recommendations that have been closed out and the ones that remain. That's my aim. And so I'd be delighted to provide that information. And of course, I work. A number of the recommendations are also departmental, and we've been managing the actual list of recommendations through the department. I've worked very closely with the department to conclude that list.
Sure. On a different topic, thank you for the letter you sent back to me some time ago regarding colour vision deficient pilots and the fact you were monitoring developments in New Zealand. Can you give us an update on to where CASA's thinking is at on that issue?
Senator, my only update is that and I've been approached by the Colour Vision Deficient Pilots Association since then for another meeting. I said that I'm looking closely at what New Zealand is doing. I'm going to meet with my colleagues in New Zealand late in June as I work through that particular issue on what they're doing in the regulatory process. All I will say is that I have some sympathy with their view. and their approach, but I'll leave it at that for the time being. I really need to work through it. It is a different approach than the one we've taken. And as I said to you in my letter, I can't remember the phraseology, but I have a very open mind on the topic, and I'm trying to find a way to resolve it. And it's been around for a long time, and I understand your concern.
Could I just make the clarification that despite the fact you said it's a different approach to the way we've taken, what the New Zealanders are now doing is essentially the approach that we took 25 years ago, very successfully and safely, which was overturned without consultation with industry within the last 3 or 4 years. So there is precedent for what the New Zealanders are doing, and we set it. I actually think they've taken a sensible approach in terms of saying the medical process identifies this as a problem, but in this case, in the absence of other evidence, it's the operational airworthiness side that determines how to deal with that and make it safe. So I'll look forward to your updates on that.
Thank you, Senator. I look forward to providing them.